Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. Back with my good friend Tom Staub. How you doing, sir?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing well, man. So once again, thank you for inviting me to be a part of the REI conference. Again, reiconference.com. If you want to know what that is, folks, look at video number 1 from today. But what I want to do here with Tom, because he cut his teeth on Wall Street. And when I say that, what I mean by that is he is a number and analytical wizard. So what I'm going to do here, Tom, is I'm going to bring up this 50-year spreadsheet, which you may have seen me talk about with others. But I think you're going to look at this. You're going to ask questions. You're going to interpret the data faster. And I'm guessing uniquely. So A, have you seen me talk about this before? And should I be nervous? You're going to just tear this apart.
Okay. So actually, no, I have not.
Oh, cool.
So let's see what it is. Now, I have some of my own charts, and so we'll see how that compares. Let's see.
Ooh, this ought to be good.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, so let me give you a lay of the land. Let me first move your picture out of the way so we can see the whole thing. I'm assuming you see it now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what I did is I went back all the way to 1970, so before you and I were born. And what I did is I captured certain metrics, and then others are just calculations.
Mm-hmm.
So I captured the home ownership rate. I captured median home price. I then calculate home appreciation, which is just math on the year before, right?
Yep.
It's what you see here in yellow. I got the average 30-year interest rate. I did math for the down payment. I made it a variable. So you can see down here at row 15, it's 10% here. So 10% of 24 grand is 2,400. The finance amount, that's just math. It's purchase price minus down payment. I then do a payment, 30-year fixed at the prevailing interest rate. I then go grab the median income for a family of 4, right? So theoretically today it's mom and dad, maybe in the 70s, it's just one parent.
Mm-hmm.
I then do math on wage growth, like home appreciation, that is math. I then do monthly gross income. I do not take taxes because I don't know the tax rate and that would just get too complicated.
Yeah.
So I take income divided by 12. Now what I do is I'm trying to calculate affordability. Mm-hmm. So one of my guest experts is a mortgage broker, and this is called the front end ratio. It is mortgage payment divided by gross income. What percentage payment of income? Mm-hmm. And then what I said, because what we see later is the down payment becomes a problem, is what percent of your yearly income is the down payment? So you with me so far?
Yep, all good.
All right, so I did this year after year after year. So just because people always ask, I actually cited my sources, right? Because again, people are like, my data is different than yours. Well, you probably got it from somewhere else. And oh, by the way, for example, home prices, I chose January 1st. So again, I cite my sources. All the data is not perfect. Like this data is only from 71 to 19. So I grabbed 70 and 20 from different areas. So be it. I did the best I could.
By the way, I know where you're going with this, and I have exact framework. So we'll see how your data jives with mine. I love it.
All right. So I, because you're an analytical guy, this is, I'm just going to move through this with colors, right? So I did this year after year. I did not adjust for inflation because again, I'm trying to take a snapshot of that year, right? Yep. I'm not trying to judge it based on $2009 or $20 or anything like that. I'm like, hey, my family was, buying a house in 77. What was it like? And then in 79, what was it like?
Yep.
So first off, a couple of things. You're going to see different colors here. So yellow means math. That's what that means. Green means that was the best time, right? So the down payment over the 50 years, it was cheapest or most affordable or whatever words you want to use from 73 to 77.
Look at 81 though, the interest rate.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're going to get there. Yes. That's nutty, right? So again, green. And oh, by the way, this is what people don't get. What you should be, what I caution people to look at is look at wage growth in 78, 79. Mm-hmm. Talk about wage inflation. This is why on my daily financial news this morning, I'm like, dude, I got to go look at Jimmy Carter's presidency because we are about to repeat Jimmy Carter, in my opinion.
Hyperinflation.
No, come on now. High inflation, not
that's true. Yeah. I mean,
people are talking hyperinflation. Come on.
That's why the Fed had a reason to increase rates, right?
No, of course. So this is inflation. Oh, by the way, wage inflation leads to home price inflation. Look at this, like immediate, like wages go up, houses go up, like, because again, it's payment, folks, not price.
Right.
These idiots out there. And then, oh, by the way, it gets unaffordable, right? So income, prices, interest rates, unaffordable. Because again, one of my experts I talk to every Wednesday at 9:30, Matt, the mortgage guy, he's like, you are not getting a yes answer from a bank when your front end ratio is at 40.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
not going to happen.
Let me take a little tidbit too. And John Burns Consulting, if you go to their Twitter, they have a lot of good data too. But historically, if you look back in the 08 crash, 010, we were around 40% when that crash happened. Now, keep in mind that takes into account really bad borrowers, bad credit scores. So it hit 40% payment percentage versus gross income, and then it collapsed. Right.
Yeah. So we will get to that in a minute. Yep. But the other thing, right, I take from this is, how many times have you heard, Tom, people say rising interest rates will kill housing? Have you heard that a few times?
Oh yeah. I mean, dozens.
Yeah. I've heard it hundreds of times. What if I told you interest rates went up 800 basis points, not 8, not 80, 800, and housing was still appreciating? What if I told you that?
Yeah, I would believe it if wages go up as well. Yeah.
Well, there's the deal, right? So here we go. 30-year interest rate starts at 8.8 and gets as high as 16.64. That's 800, folks. That's not 8 basis points. That's 800 basis points.
Yeah.
And look at appreciation. It gets a little soft in 83, but it never goes negative. People don't get this. They're like, housing's going to crash. It's going to fall off a cliff.
Well, I mean, here's the thing too. If you look at the linearity of housing across like 200 and some years, we've only had substantial dips like twice, right?
Yeah, in the last 100 years, it was twice. Obviously,
it's
the
not
Great
common,
Depression,
like
the Great Recession.
Yeah, land and real estate tend to either be flat or slightly appreciating every year. So it's really rare to have dips.
Yeah,
but yeah, go ahead.
So this really counteracts the whole rising interest rates. And again, I mean, it makes logical sense. Rising rates kill housing. Well, interest rates start at 8 and they go to 16, and housing didn't miss because, to your point, wages.
Yep.
Right. That's the story. Okay. So there we go. We get going. Now stuff gets interesting, right? We get it's unaffordable, right? The front end ratio. And then look what happens. Home ownership falls in the 80s.
Yep.
A la, Ronald or George Bush. I think it was George Bush, kind of creates the, everybody needs a home idea that kind of ultimately balloons into a problem later in life. Right. Okay. And then down here, look at the down payment, right? It's ticking up into the 30s now. Right. So you're getting home appreciation. What this is to me is home appreciation is getting away from incomes.
Yep.
Okay. Keep going.
Well, and you can see it there too, right? On the spreads between appreciation and wage growth.
Yeah, exactly. It's 7.6, it's 4.5, it's 7.3, it's 6.2. And again, that's actually okay as I forget his name, but there's a mortgage guy out there that I watch all the time. I should know his name. Barry Habib. He's like, dude, people don't buy houses for cash. So it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, right?
Right.
Even if you put 20% down, that's still a 5-to-1 ratio. So
right. Yeah. Right. It's like a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 ratio. Correct. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's all this good stuff. So, okay. So we keep moving forward. And then look at this. We have home ownership, the highest on record in the early 2000s. And then we have a problem.
You know what you want to include here is the either money supply or inflation rates, because I wonder how much of the money supply or inflation rates played into.
Yeah, I have some of that just with appreciation and wage growth, but yeah, I don't have overall inflation. But we get to this again, 2004, what not many people realize was the peak for home ownership. That was the peak. And then we start getting into wonky loans. And guess what happened in 05? People don't get this stuff. Look at wage growth. 03, 04.
Deflation.
Boom. Problem. What
was causing that?
I
forget.
It's just a way. Again, most people think 08, 09 was the big blow up because that's what they look at home appreciation. And it was negative 5 years in a row. But freaking wages crashed first. Nobody looks at this.
Real quick, go back to the previous wage deceleration. Was it a leading indicator to appreciation of homes? Probably, right?
Wage decrease?
Well, let's go back to the last red on wage growth.
So I only highlighted the worst wage period. I highlighted the peak and the bottom.
I guess my thought is wage growth rates as they decelerate is probably a leading indicator of home appreciation rates.
It's all wages.
Right.
This is what this says is when wages go up. Look at this. Okay, here you go. Here's some low wage growth 3 years in a row. Well, I've never looked at this before. So 91, 92, 93. And again, look at this one. What was the only other year it was negative in housing? 91.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 years were low.
Yeah.
Wages are so track wages. That's what this says. Track wages.
I mean, not to get too nerdy on you all, but doing a simple correlation analysis or regression on all these variables would probably tell you, to your point, Zuber, that wage growth is the highest correlating variable.
It is
to appreciation. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, wages go soft in 05, people. Wages hit a freaking wall. 03, 04, crash.
Yep.
Go negative. Housing is unaffordable, right? 40%.
Yep.
And then housing falls off a cliff for 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
We were doing bad loans because the Wall Street got addicted, banks got nerdy, but it's because we stopped making as much money. Wages went negative. It's nutty.
So this is a good point to bring this up. Typically, for a stabilized market, people will pay about 30 to 34% of their gross income on housing.
Correct.
That's a safe market. Right now, we're like a 30, 32%.
Well, I have the numbers here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think yours might be a little soft relative to mine, but I think mine's on net income.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have net. I have gross.
Yeah, it's kind of,
Yeah. So again, there's other things. And then, oh, by the way, because what people don't realize is interest rates combined with higher incomes, because again, real estate's a debt-based purchase, have an outsized gains. So what I have to tell you is real estate was never more affordable than 2020. And that blows people's minds. It's because interest rates were never lower.
Right. Now, I think if you just change a few things here, let's just, for fun, if you change the median home price now, I think it's what, 383?
Oh, I have that. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
So now I'm in July, right? Because again, this first was years, because again, 2021 hasn't finished. Yep. But I'm like you, I'm like, well, what the hell is going on now? So median price jumped, right? It went from 270, now it's 363. These are all July numbers. I have not put in August, because actually August isn't over. So these are all July numbers.
Yep.
So now homeowners or median price is 363. Interest rates went down further, at least at that time. They were 2.6 versus 3.1. Median income went up $1,000.
Yep.
So now it's 19%. So it jumped quite a bit. It jumped from 15 to 19. But down payment's the big problem. It's now 45% of income.
Yeah, it's a different scenario, right? And this is what I've been arguing. But by the way, that guy, Repetcher Consulting, and I have been debating hard. I mean, it's been great. So I have this whole crew. And by the way, they're basically, and sorry for all you out there that follow him, that love him, but it does seem like a lot of people there are just kind of mad at the world or something, and they just can't get into real estate. So they just gang up on me, and we go back and forth on, and I'm like, well, look, and I've used this argument because we still have some room to go, which I know sounds crazy. And a lot of the indications are showing kind of a flattening market for some time, maybe a slight pullback, but I mean, here it is.
You want to blow them away. So let's look at this number, right? I've done this a few times. So first off, we're going to look, this is the number we're going to play with, but we're going to go figure this out. So historically speaking, again, we're looking at row 12 here, payments of gross, right? If we keep this under 25%, we're back to kind of, let's see, 25%. Actually, let's do the math real fast. We'll just do a silly count. We're just doing this
25.2 right there.
Yeah. So the average is, there you go, 25.2. So let's just say 25%. All right. So if 25% is the average, where does real estate have to go?
Off the cuff, I'm going to say 480.
All right. So hold on. So we're going to make this a ratio equals times this. Okay. So what percentage do you think this has to increase before payment of gross is 25%?
Yeah, I'm going to go 20%.
All right. Well, let's put in 20%. Oh, you're pretty damn good. All right. So let's say 2.5. There we go. 25% with nothing else changing.
Yep.
You can
what's
get
amazing is
25% appreciation.
100%. And this is why when I went out and put these appreciation videos on my channel, I was saying, hey, look, I know we're at a peak, it seems, but I think we still have 10 to 20% to go, because if you just are conservative on this assumption, how do you argue not at least another 10, 20%?
Well, here, let's take this back to 20%, like you said, because it's multifaceted. Because the other thing that could happen is this could jump, right? This could go to 3.6.
Yeah, and I think when you look at a lot of the forecasts from the St. Louis Fed and everyone else, you're looking at some increases in interest rates in 2023, but yeah, so maybe it's 3.5%, 4%, right?
Yeah, but you know what? You want to drive people really bananas? Let's take this back to 1% or one, like it is what it is. I did this the other day and it drove me crazy, right? How high does this have to go? Just interest rate is the only thing we're changing until we're at 25%.
Well, let's assume that the 10-year goes to 3%, and mind you, mortgage rates are typically 200 basis points above that.
Okay.
So call it 5.
There we go.
Yep.
So, and again, put that in scale. Interest rates need to double.
Yep.
That's what that is. Interest rates double from where they are today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, will it happen? It slowly, probably
it eventually will. Yeah.
23, 24, right? But at the same time, you have wage growth.
Exactly. Right? We didn't touch wages.
Right.
What did I tell you before? Watch wages. All of these wage growth. Anybody not think we're going to have wage growth the next year is not paying attention.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I watched this video. I forget by who, but it's a bit concerning because I think the government has finally just stepped in and said, "Hey, look, we're not going to let the efficient market take its toll. We're always going to control all variables and protect everyone." Which, I don't know what that means downstream, but they've clearly shown us that they won't let this market collapse.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm going to go back and watch Jimmy Carter's era, because I think there's so many similarities, right? Jimmy Carter came in, kind of tried to bring quasi-socialism, like try to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we're doomed to repeat things like that, right? I was very young, right? I was alive when Jimmy Carter was president, but didn't know we had a president. I was that young, right? So yeah, I need to go figure that out.
I'll tell you too. So John Burns has a great summary last week that came out from their SVP. Fantastic. It's free. It's like 40 minutes. Go on their channel, check it out. Just kind of about the conditions of the market. And, I'm a developer, right? And I talk to builders every day, the big boys, Lennar, DR, KB, Castle Rock, all these guys. And what we're seeing in the market is that builders, they're just transitioning their products. Mm-hmm. So what you're going to end up seeing here in the big goose egg right now in the market is affordable housing. We all know that, right?
Absolutely.
It's really hard to build a property under 175 a square foot, but it's just hard to build at that cost and below. So the sweet spot for builders is that 250, 350 range.
Wow.
So what's happening is, and you had this conversation a long time ago, I forget what you called it, but more or less it was the idea where the cereal box was going from 15 ounces to 8, right?
Right.
Well, the same thing's happening in housing. So if you think about housing, right, 2x6s would be a high quality home. Now they're 2x4s. You think about ceilings being 10 foot. Well, now they're 8.5, 9 feet. You think about high pitched roofs. Now they're flat. Studs used to be 18 inches apart. Now they're 24 inches apart. So they're doing all these things to reduce costs, increase margins. And they're also using this model like stamp and repeat. So builders are going to figure out how to navigate in this world. I think the real estate market will be healthy for some time because builders are much more savvy this time around, as are banks.
Oh yeah, they're building. One of the problems is they're not building enough, and they're doing that on purpose, right? They're
exactly 100%
controlling the output because they don't want to get caught with 50 homes.
Yeah, or extra land, right? I mean, 40% of their orders are in backlog.
Exactly. Intentionally. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I mean,
purpose.
And then your video on the foreclosure wave, how it's like 0.1%.
Yes. Just nuts.
And then my guys on Wall Street were like, dude, let me tell you something. Every one of those foreclosures already claimed for on the secondary market. I guarantee, like they're all just waiting.
Yeah, they're going to take a 2% discount and just be done.
100%, right? Like, so I try to find the crash sentiment, and I try to find the reasoning behind it, and I just day after day I'm like, am I crazy? Is Zuber crazy? Like who's the crazy one here?
Yeah, there's no crash coming. There's a slowdown. I mean, buyer again. I'm talking to agents all the time, right? One agent had 15 buyers. Now she has 2.
Yeah.
But again, there's no inventory. So you only need one yes answer for a home. I think we've got a lot of the 2021 appreciation done in the first half.
Yeah.
I think it's flat. I think to go from 15% to 4%.
Yeah. Well,
that's still not negative.
100%. You know, and people are traveling. They're getting out.
They took July off. Yeah.
Yeah. They're, you know, and that's what we're seeing here in Austin too. It's slowing down to a flat market, which is fine, right?
Yeah.
People are fatigued. They're taking a break. School's starting, all the seasonality. So summer tends to be a slow time anyways.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no crash coming. Yeah. 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 All these other channels, they have tapped into fear.
Oh, big time.
And one of the things I ask a lot of those comments when they come on my channel is exactly how many homes do you own? You know, let's go there. Let's have that conversation.
It's
first.
sensitive too, because I know they're fighting from a like a FOMO standpoint. They're like, oh, like they wish they would have got, you know, had gotten in. So now they're hoping for a crash, I think, to get in.
Well, I lived this before.
Yeah.
All those people hoping for a crash, you won't do anything because there's blood in the street. You're going to be scared like everyone else.
Yeah, right.
You don't do the work. If you just sit there and scream at your computer, that's not how to do it. Get out, talk to people, find the motivate. You're going to, dude, there's motivated sellers today. The hardest thing to find in real estate is a motivated seller. We have this little window of time where we have threat of higher taxes. We have an eviction moratorium. We have reasons where some people are going to go, I give up. I want
100%.
out. Go find them.
Those. 100%.
Go find
100%.
Because that's where the deals are made.
100%. Yeah. So, but that's a really good chart. I don't know if you could share that, if you're allowed to share with everyone, but that's worth sharing to let people kind of play and dabble around.
I actually put it in my free course because it is so valuable. All you have to do is register. It's in the bonus section. It's in my free course. If you're one of my students, it's in my paid course, obviously. But yeah, awesome. I gave it away.
Yep, that's great.
Yep.
What's happening on your with all the moratoriums and everything with your multifamily stuff?
So rent collections never dipped below 97%. Right. So it's down about 1 to 1.5%. We have finally got some money from the government, right? Which I did not expect. Nice. Not a lot, but anything more than zero is good. Yep. We have processed evictions. There are people that were breaking other rules because you can't evict for non-payment. So it needs to stop. There are truly mom and pop landlords that are getting crushed. We happen to have enough scale that we'll be fine. Yep. But there are mom and pop investors, 5, 6, 7 units where if they have 2 non-paying, they're going to go bankrupt. So this thing needs to end.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Well, look, I'm looking forward to having you at the event here in a couple of weeks, and yeah, can't wait.
Very cool, folks. Again, reiconference.com. Register. I'm going to be sending him 50 books that he can choose to give away. So thanks, buddy. Have a wonderful day.
You too, sir.
Mm-hmm.